Data scientist job interview, expectations and next steps. Characters. Interviewer, Mr. Harrison, senior data manager, professional, direct, and observant. Candidate, Elena, data scientist candidate, confident, analytical, and articulate.
All right, Elena, we've reached the final stage of our interview today, and I want to give you the floor to ask anything on your mind.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. I've actually prepared a few questions because I believe that understanding the long-term vision of the data department is just as important as the day-to-day tasks.
I appreciate that level of preparation. It shows you're thinking about your future within the company rather than just looking for a job.
Exactly. To start, could you tell me more about how the data science team's goals align with the company's broader strategic roadmap for the next 2 years?
That's a deep question. Essentially, we are transitioning from being a reactive, reporting-heavy department to a proactive, AI-first organization that drives product innovation.
That sounds like an exciting transition to be part of, especially since it implies that the leadership team truly values data-driven insights over traditional intuition.
We definitely do, though we still face some challenges with data silos between our logistics and marketing departments.
Speaking of data silos, what does the current data infrastructure look like? And are there plans to migrate toward a more unified cloud-native architecture in the near future?
We are currently in the middle of migrating our legacy on-premise databases to a modern Snowflake environment on AWS to improve our processing speed and scalability.
That's a massive undertaking, but it will certainly make the lives of your data scientists much easier when it comes to accessing clean, centralized datasets for modeling.
That is the hope, although the migration has been a bit slower than we originally anticipated due to some complex security compliance requirements.
I can imagine. However, I found that taking the time to get the security and governance right at the beginning prevents huge headaches further down the line.
You're absolutely right about that. Do you have any other questions regarding the team structure?
Yes. I'm curious about the typical career progression for a data scientist here. What does the path toward a senior or lead role look like in terms of responsibilities?
We offer 2 distinct tracks, a management path for those who want to lead people and an individual contributor path for those who want to remain deeply technical experts.
That is great to hear, as it shows you respect different professional strengths and allow people to grow in the direction that best fits their natural talents.
We try to be flexible because we know that a brilliant researcher doesn't always want to spend their entire day in budget meetings and performance reviews.
I completely agree with that philosophy. Personally, I enjoy a mix of both, but I want to ensure I keep my technical skills sharp regardless of my title.
We provide a dedicated budget for professional development, including certifications and conference attendance, to help our team stay at the cutting edge.
That is a fantastic perk, and it reinforces my impression that this company views its employees as long-term assets rather than just temporary resources.
Now, let's talk about the logistics. What are your expectations regarding the start date and the hybrid work arrangement we mentioned in the posting?
Given my current commitments, I would be able to start in 3 weeks, and the 3 days in office hybrid model you described fits my working style perfectly.
3 weeks works for us. It gives our HR department enough time to finalize the background checks and set up your hardware and software access.
That sounds perfect. Regarding the equipment, do you typically provide standardized MacBooks for the data team, or is there an option to use a Linux-based environment?
We generally issue high-spec MacBook Pros, but we are more than happy to accommodate a Linux setup if that is what makes you most productive in your workflow.
I appreciate the flexibility. While I'm comfortable with macOS, I often find that a Linux environment is much more efficient for heavy-duty local development and containerization tasks.
Noted. Now, regarding the next steps, I will be meeting with the rest of the hiring committee tomorrow afternoon to discuss all the candidates we've seen this week.
I understand. When can I expect to hear a final decision or a request for a follow-up conversation regarding the offer details?
You should receive an update from our recruiting coordinator by Tuesday of next week at the latest, as we are looking to move quite quickly on this role.
That's a very reasonable timeline, and I appreciate you keeping me informed throughout the process so I can plan my next steps accordingly.
Of course, Is there anything else we haven't covered today that you think is important for me to know before we wrap this up?
I just want to reiterate how much I enjoyed our conversation and how confident I am that my background in predictive modeling and my collaborative mindset would be a great fit.
Your confidence is well-founded, Elena. You've given us a lot of great information to consider, and your technical depth really stood out during the portfolio review.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. I truly believe that the challenges your team is facing with AI-driven routing are exactly the kind of problems I am most passionate about solving.
It's rare to find someone who possesses both the technical know-how and the ability to articulate the broader business value as clearly as you have today.
I've learned over the years that if I can't explain the value of my work to a stakeholder, then the technical complexity of the model doesn't really matter in the end.
That is a very wise realization. It's a lesson that many data scientists unfortunately take a very long time to learn in their professional careers.
Well, I've had some great mentors who hammered that point home early on, and it has served me incredibly well in every project I've managed so far.
It certainly shows in the way you carry yourself and the way you approach these complex interview questions with such poise and clarity.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity to demonstrate my skills, and regardless of the outcome, I've found this to be a very insightful and rewarding interview process.
I'm glad to hear that. We strive to make the candidate experience as transparent and respectful as possible, even in such a competitive hiring market.
It definitely feels that way, and it makes me even more enthusiastic about the possibility of joining your team and contributing to your future success.
Well, on that note, I think we are all set for today. I'll walk you to the elevator and make sure you have the contact info for our recruiter.
That would be great. Thank you. I'll be sure to send a follow-up thank you note to the entire panel later this afternoon to express my appreciation.
That's always a nice touch. We appreciate the professional courtesy, and it definitely keeps you top of mind as we make our final deliberations.
It's the least I can do given the time and effort your team has put into evaluating my application and hosting me for these interviews today.
Here we are. It was a pleasure meeting you, Elena, and I wish you the best of luck with the rest of your week.
The pleasure was all mine, Mr. Harrison. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I look forward to hearing from your team very soon.
You too. Take care, and we will be in touch shortly via email or phone.
Sounds good. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Elena.
What a great experience.
See you in the next English conversation session by Wisdom Studio 8.